A little bit of talk about the National Football League's collective bargaining agreement, why expanding the schedule is a good thing, and more. Hi everybody, I'm Marky Billson. That's the big thing that everybody sees here. Expanding the schedule to 17 games. Folks, it's overdue. And with all due respect to the players who say, okay, more injuries, etc., and I do not want to be one of those guys that, the famous Mr. Burns line, if in the old days the boxing match didn't go 75 rounds, we asked for our nickel back. Well, no, I'm not. No, I want the game as safe as it possibly can be without turning certainly into rough touch or something like that. But here's the case. Back in the day, United States Football League used to play 18 games. Did they have a significantly higher injury rate than the NFL, playing 16 games? And when you think about it, they should have. Because they were playing on AstroTurf, they were playing in the heat. Certainly the medical staffs in 1983 through 1985 were not as good as what they are going to be now in 2020. Was there significantly more injuries then than now? Is the Super Bowl always played with second stringers? I mean, think about this for a second. The answer, of course, is no. And, it's been done before. Folks, the preseason is meaningless. It is a waste of money for the fans. It's an extortion of the fans. Yeah, I gotta buy these meaningless games, see the backups play that aren't even gonna make the team, and pay just as much for that ticket as you do for the regular season. That's just not right. I am hoping that 17 games, there's talk of, 8 and 9 flip-flopping, home games every year, odd even, I guess, for certain teams. But it's my hope, actually, that I guess you'd have one preseason game. Oh, it's good to see let's see the backup quarterback play. I mean, just something like that. And then one at a neutral site, because I will say this, neutral site NFL games, be they played at overseas, in Canada, in Mexico, be they at a college stadium, there's always kind of a buzz when the NFL comes to town, and I think that could be pretty decent marketing for the NFL, something a page out of the old days, if you will. But 17 games, I want to see it. You owe it to the fans who are paying, ticket holders like myself. I'm a season ticket holder to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and yeah, we got to pay, $2,000 every year for a couple of ducats. I want those games to count. Plain and simple. Okay? I am not big on not testing for marijuana. Look, it's still illegal, and I know it's becoming more and more accepted, etc., but I want to give you an example here. Mike Adams, who was drafted by the Steelers a few years ago, he smoked pot during the Combine. Now, if that's not a flashing red light that says, I'm not serious about playing pro football, I don't know what is. And he was supposed to be a first-round pick coming out of Ohio State. Steelers took him in the second round. He fell to them, so telling Mike Tomlin, the one guy, the one team that's going to take him is going to be the Steelers. And you know what that's like? That's like showing up to practice drunk. Now, that would be a problem if you had that. Now, let alone the fact that, if you're over 21, beer or wine or whatever is legal, marijuana isn't, unless you're trying to cure glaucoma or something, or I guess relieve glaucoma and such. But here's the deal. It was a flashing red light that Adams was going to be a bust, that he was smoking marijuana during the Combine. You've got to know that in the future. And just like I said, if there were reports, what's this player like? Well, you know what? He's an alcoholic. Maybe you don't want him. If he can't put down the doobies long enough to practice, maybe you don't want him. And I don't think it's a good thing. And I mean, with all due respect, and to a certain extent I do agree, Nick Nolte's great line in North Dallas 40, look, you kick me out of the league for smoking grass, you got to kick out how much of the league? I get it. But still, you know what? I want to be able to know about Adams. I really do. Now, one thing when you're talking about negotiations here, and the idea the NFL wants to get these negotiations done as soon as possible so they can get a good TV contract. Give you an idea, the Monday Night Football deal, that ends in 2021. Now, with Tony Romo getting that huge contract from CBS, there was some talk that maybe ESPN would like to have him doing Monday Night Football, and all this. He's not going to go there. And I'll tell you what, if I were the owners, I might negotiate or give the crumb to them. Hey, you know what? No more Monday Night Football. Now, I know that the complaint is against the Thursday night games, but the Thursday night games have that feeling of being a matinee, about being the first look. The Monday night game, it's not 1977 anymore. It feels like the credits to a movie, sticking around to watch them. And yeah, why do you stick around to watch? I want to see who that actor was and all that. Same thing with Monday Night Football. Oh, it's my team playing. I want to watch that game. And otherwise, yeah, you might just do something else on Monday night. It just seems like too much extra baggage these days. It's not must-watch TV with Frank Howard and Dandy Don anymore. And ESPN is now paying $1.9 billion just to have Monday Night Football. And I don't think in this age of cord cutting, they're going to continue to want to pay that kind of money, remember all their layoffs a couple of years ago, to the NFL. And I think the NFL, they would like to, let's put it this way, I think ESPN would like to cover the NFL more critically. I think they would feel they can get more mileage doing that than, say, the NFL putting their pressure on them to cut off playmakers. Remember that old TV show that sort of dealt with the inside skinny of the NFL and such, and it was very critically acclaimed, but players, it was like, taking the mask off. And so it was very unpopular within the NFL, and as a result, they pushed for it to be taken off in a season. Now, if you're not carrying those games, you're not taking off playmakers. And see, now ESPN can control the editorial. And I think they'd like to be more critical of the NFL, be it due to the injury factor, be it due to the cultural, political factors, whatever. I think ESPN would like to cover the league that way, and they're not going to want to pay billions of dollars so that they can't. So what then happens on Monday Night Football? Well, I say it could be a crumb up. Well, you know what? I understand. Let's keep the Tuesday through Sunday, unless possibly if it's a big snowstorm like we had about 10 years ago, and they started playing NFL games on Tuesday or something like it. Something like that, we get it. Okay, but otherwise, no. And that could be a crumb. Now, I think the NFL doesn't really want to have the perception of less football, so that's probably why they'll keep it. In my opinion, what would happen is it goes to the NFL Network. And then whatever money you lose there, what you're going to try to make up is with the cable companies and the internet companies, and subscribe to the NFL Network. We're your home for Monday Night Football. We're your home so you can watch the games and all that. You can't at ESPN. And then the NFL Network can go up against ESPN in terms of placement on cable packages and things like this. Could be a real war. And one, because the NFL isn't going to be as critical towards itself as ESPN will, it could really have a feel in terms of your sports coverage in this decade, say in 2022, 2023 and beyond, where ESPN is your MSNBC and the NFL Network is kind of like your Fox. And that's, I think, what the NFL Network and the NFL would like to do. And yeah, they can recoup their losses and make the NFL Network the leading sports network on cable. Don't say it couldn't happen. I say look out for that. That could really happen. And again, the reason why it would happen is because instead of eliminating Monday Night Football altogether, it would just seem like maybe, just maybe, cutting back a game, that makes it sound like we're losing traction or something. So we'll keep it, we'll put it on the NFL Network. However, in that mindset of we don't want to lose something, there are those ideas that the NFL, and it probably will happen, will expand their playoff field. I don't think that should happen. And they're talking about it in Major League Baseball too. These are bad moves. I'll tell you why in our next video. My next video. We share it here, right? I want you to go to YouTube and like Marky Billson. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps me out when you do that. There are also now more than 900 videos. The archives of my old show, some great interviews. I'm going to be posting one up with Howie Schwab here very shortly, but also my current podcast and just the archives of my show. So take a look at that. There's a football page there. I've got a page for Tri-Cities Sports, for ETSU, for Pittsburgh, all this sort of stuff. It's going to be very informative for you. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in just a bit talking about please don't expand these playoffs.